Welcome back to On the Line with. I'm your host Hanley. It's episode 4. We're here with Spitten Image. So I'll give my homie a second to introduce himself. Go ahead.
What's up? It's Spitten Image, blue collar hip hop, stay platinum, Ottawa 613.
All right, so welcome to the homie Spitten Image. I'm glad that you could join me here today for On the Line with episode 4, like I mentioned. I hope everybody's had a chance to listen to episode 1 through 3. 1 featuring Happy Kills, 2 featuring Raw B, and 3 featuring Ride So Valid, Out of Terror Squad, and now episode 4 with Spitten Image, as you said, Blue Collar, 613, Ottawa local, great stage performer, cadence, dope tracks, nonstop. So I know last year he dropped an album, or EP rather, we'll get into that shortly. He has a new LP featuring some hip-hop legends, to say the least. So what else has been up, man? How's life going in the city for you?
Good, man. Thank you for having me on your podcast here today. Pretty stoked to be doing it. Things are good, man. Just working hard, working on the new album, trying to survive like everybody else through this COVID stuff, and keeping the family safe.
He's a recent family man. Not recent, but as I know, fairly recent, because we just actually connected after my long hiatus, so it's good to finally meet him. I mean, like I told him, I was already lurking hip-hop performances and seeing the scene. So I'm glad you're here too. I'm glad you could honor the show by coming on and blessing us with your interview, because I know you're a busy man. Like you said, you're a family man, you're a working man, you're a rapping man. You're a jack of all trades.
Yes, sir. Man, many faces.
So another East Ender, East Side all day.
Orleans.
So did you want to start from the come up?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we'll start with the come up. So you've been in the game for how long now?
Just over a decade.
So that would make it, estimate, like 2011, 2012?
Yeah, 2012. Yeah, around there.
Do you remember the first track you dropped?
First track we dropped, man. I was in a group with me and my homie, and we went to this studio in Vanier. And I have the title on the tip of my tongue, but anyway, it was the first track we wrote. It was the first track we went to the studio with, and I would love to talk to the engineer because I could just wonder what was going through this guy's head as two whack rappers are coming to lay these bars down. But man, it was a great experience, to kickstart everything.
That sounds good. And who were you in a group with? Who was the other rapper? Or was it a group of multiples, or was it a duo?
It was a duo, man, with me and my high school friend. He went by the name Tranquil Flow, and a reggae DJ out of Ottawa named Selecta Gallus. We kind of started a group, the three of us. Gallus was our DJ, and me and Tranquil Flow were the MCs. And we started a group, did a couple shows, we sold out Capital City Music Hall, which was pretty cool for our very first show. Yeah, right. And it was super awesome, man. It just, we kind of parted ways and stuff like that a couple months after, but definitely a good experience, man, and good learning.
In 2011 and 2012, we were still kind of those drop a mixtape instead of an EP, LP, or album days. So did you drop any mixtapes during that time frame, like when you first started, or were you just strictly working to drop an actual like advanced EP, or advanced LP or album?
We dropped Live Feed the mixtape. We dropped one mixtape as a group together. We had some commercial beats from, I think one of them was from a Sprite commercial, like a really hype one. I think one of them was like Chevy Riding High at one point. We had a lot of like really dope beats and stuff like that. So we dropped a mixtape. It was, I think, 18 songs. And we were able to do one mixtape together before it all ended.
Right. And what ended it, if you don't mind me asking? Was it just schedule interferences, or just not the feel, or just separate, just how people drift apart?
Yeah,
they don't have the same vision.
It was kind of that last one, man. Like my boy wanted to do other things with his life and stuff like that. He was more focused on a career in like not in music and stuff, like building his career in finances. I supported him, and he's still one of my best boys today, and I still talk to him weekly. And you know what, man, it was the right move for him, and I supported him no matter what.
Well, shout out to your boy, formerly known as Tranquil Flow.
Yes, sir.
and the DJ was
Selecta Gallus.
Selecta Gallus.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to both of them. And so coming up after you first started, you did that first track. After how many tracks do you think you got the rhythm and idea of how to lay down a track? Did you get any advice, or did you get any constructive criticism? I know, because when you drop your first track, all your friends are like, "This is hot." But honestly, when you grow up and after you hear your first track again after 10 years, you're like, "This was not hot."
Yeah, things were definitely different, man. Tranquil Flow, my boy Jamie, he was the one that showed me how to structure bars and write to the drum kick and the snare and where to hit it and stuff. He was the one that taught me all that. So it definitely took probably, I'd say, 2 mixtapes before you really kind of got the hang of it and got the flow. The funny thing is, Hanley, too, bro, I hated my flow when I first started.
Everybody does.
Right? And I was very monotone. And it's okay because I have a deep voice kind of, and I was very monotone on a lot of stuff. So also too, having to find my voice as well came later on. After I think the second mixtape, I finally found my flow.
Okay. And do you remember the name of those 2 mixtapes by chance?
So again, the first one was the Live Feed mixtape.
Oh, sorry, that's right. Live Feed was the first one, and the second one.
And then when I went solo, it was Microphone Phenomenal. That was my first kind of solo mixtape of Spitten Image, the solo artist.
Should have called it Micro Phenomenal.
Right? That would have been so much better.
Play on words, bro.
Right? I know.
We should have connected. No, definitely. I mean, you're phenomenal on the mic now.
Yeah, a lot of hard work, but
things came full circle at the end of the day. I mean, for a 10-year span, your improvement from what you're saying you were, since I wasn't lucky enough to hear you then. I may have, because shout out to Vanier. I mean, I've been an East Sider all my life, so from Orleans to Ogilvy and Gloucester, Beacon Hill, Vanier, Rockcliffe, everywhere. I'm talking, anywhere that was dusty and grimy back in the day, I was hanging out. But Microphone Phenomenal, how many tracks were on that?
That one had, I believe, 18 or 20. I think 20, yeah. Yeah,
because most mixtapes at the time were people just dropping nonstop. Yeah. Either one verse tracks or hot tracks that should be album cuts. I remember Wayne's mixtape series, half those songs that were on his mixtapes, I used to be like, why isn't this on the Carter? Why does the Carter sound like this and the mixtape sound like this? Yeah. I personally think that track Cannon that he had from Gangsta Grills should have been on one of his Carter albums.
100%.
That track was so fire. Yeah. And you know how many people remix that beat after? It's got to be in the fucking 100,000s plus. Yeah. There's so many artists in this world. I mean, every second person on the street's a rapper, a singer, anything
top 5 mix beat for sure.
Definitely top 5 mixtape artists of all time. Probably top 3. Yeah. And then Joe Budden, still personally one of my top 5 mixtape creators, even though he's an asshole. Yeah, and if he hears this ever, it's the same guy you blocked on Twitter after the show. I'm just keeping it real. He was an asshole, man. I'm sorry. But back to you. When you're thinking of yourself back in the day and you're thinking of yourself now with all the shows and tours and stuff you've been blessed to be put on, what do you think you changed in your brand to get such a jump start? Because 10 years seems like a long time to most people, but a 10-year career in music and where you're at right now is a very big feat compared to people who have been doing mixtapes or EPs for the last 10 years and they do maybe 1 or 2 shows a year. Yeah. That's not bringing money in. Yeah. You can't say you're living off of music unless you're really selling those mixtapes like they're fresh off the press and they're gone. So what would you think changed from your come up to where you're at presently?
That's a good question, man. The first, when you first start and everything like that, you focus solely on the music and the craft and everything that you're about in hip hop, and especially your writing. At the start you're working, not to say just the start, because I work insanely hard still today on my writing, but at the start you're trying to get everything locked down. You're trying to perfect your rhymes. You're trying to perfect your cadence. So that's kind of what you focus on at the start, right? And once you get that kind of down pat and you get comfortable with all that, you obviously start thinking that music is a business. And at the end of the day, you have to treat everything as a product. You yourself are a product. So that was kind of the biggest change, man, is between the first couple of years learning how to write properly, learning how to flow, learning how to spit bars. The last couple of years, man, it's all about branding myself as an artist and marketing myself as that said artist and stuff. And that was kind of the biggest learning tool that you don't really think about when you start to be a rapper. Like if you take it seriously, like, a lot of us in this city do, then, you have to be on that branding tip. You have to be on that marketing plan and stuff like that. So that was kind of the biggest thing I learned in my music career, was going from an artist to a product.
Good answer. Not a lot of people would view it that way. Well, some would, but not a lot of people look at it as a business right away. But when you're jumping into something arts-wise, if you're not going to turn it into a business, I mean, most people are using it to channel their emotions with mental health struggles or whatever they may be dealing with. Doesn't necessarily have to be mental health, but could just have a bad temper, and when they write a track, then their emotions have gone from, I want to rip this motherfucker's head off to, I want to go and see a pony with my daughter. But
exactly, bro.
I mean, you definitely, it's not even like a hill. Like you took it's a hill, but it's more like a fucking mountain that you did, because you went like right up and like, if it was a chart, the bar hasn't come down yet. You're still raising it up.
Appreciate that.
And I could tell that from talking to you before the interview, just getting an idea about who you are as a person, since it is the first time we met. We've been speaking for about a month, maybe 2 months now. But I was saying I could tell that you're one to listen to your music to see if there's something you could fix in your next track to make it better. Because like I said, I changed the show schedule from every week to every 2 weeks so I could bring quality instead of quantity, even if they have to wait. And I think you do the same with your music, and you're still consistent. Due to COVID, it's not as consistent with everybody as it usually is, but for the most part, you're a consistent artist in the city. Your name is recognized throughout a lot of people in the city, hip-hop artists, and fans as well. But would you agree, like you listen to your track and you look for what you could fix or alter, or just
man,
maybe even take the whole track and have to redo it? Like I've done that myself. I'm listening to it and I'm like, it was a good take, but it could have been better. Because a lot of people read off paper still. And you can tell when someone's reading off paper and when they're memorize their lyrics, you know what I mean? Personally, I find, I don't know about you, but we'll go with the first question because I know I just kind of threw another one at you. But it seems like you listen to your music to see what you could.
Yeah, man. Like we were talking about earlier before the podcast started, it's funny too, because like I listen to my music, I was saying earlier too, like I listen to my music alone when I smoke my joint and just kind of wind down at the end of the day. I'll listen to my music like by myself and kind of see, like we were talking about earlier, kind of see that maybe we could work on this, or maybe you create good ideas from listening over and stuff. And like, oh, okay, like this would be sweet if we cut the beat here, or, maybe I'll stretch out this word, or, because every time I leave the studio, I make sure I have like an MP3 track just so I can listen to it on my phone or my headphones or in the car and just kind of pick it apart a little bit, not hating on it, but just like, okay, I could do this a little bit. And I ended up having to, I redid a couple tracks from my new album just because of, after listening to it, I was like, ooh, like I could do this a little bit better, or this would sound dope like that. Or I did a whole take twice on this one song, and it's going to end up getting cut from the album just because after you listen to the other songs and you listen to this one, it's like it's not going to fit overall. So that's kind of where I like to enjoy some spare time is really, diving deep down in my own music, kind of secluded away from everyone and just kind of like really listen to what I'm trying to say.
So your last drop was the Detour EP, correct?
Yes.
And how many tracks were on that?
That had 5.
Okay, and what did you have a specific single or like would you a track that you would consider the fans' choice?
Yeah, man. We did those 5 tracks. We decided to pick a song called "Iconic" as the kind of the lead single, and we ended up shooting a music video for it. I kind of played a grease monkey in the music video, and yeah, man, that was kind of like the kind of the deciding factor of what song we should go and what song we should really push.
I watched that video last night, and are you actually a mechanic?
No, I'm not. It was
You're a good actor then, because you really knew how to fix that car.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope you didn't fuck it up when you gave it back. Like
it was a Prius or something. It was that guy's problem. It was funny because my brother-in-law, he's one of the managers at a certain dealership. And we were able to sneak in and shoot some of the music video in the bay.
Yeah, because you showed a lot of your stage presence as well, which I thought was good because it was, like I said, your stage presence is phenomenal when you're there. Like when Cameron came, I think it was Selectwa before you.
Yeah.
It was, the artist was Selectwa, then it was Spitten Image yourself, and then it was Cam.
Yeah.
And like before Selectwa and you got on the stage, that spot was fucking dead. And then when you came on to the stage or whatever, because I went there blind, I didn't know who was opening. I just wanted to go see Cam because he's one of my all-time favorite rappers from like the early 2000s still, because Dipset, Diplomats, Diplomatic Immunity, Purple City Bird Gang, like all that. So when I was there, that was dope, and then you had the crowd rocking before you got out there. So Cam should have thanked you, because if you weren't there and he showed up, he was going to have to do a lot of fucking work. But definitely a dope video. I'd suggest it's on his YouTube, Spitten Image on YouTube, and it's called Iconic.
Yep.
And that's from his Detour EP. And that was the only visual off that EP, right?
Yeah.
Who shot it?
So it was from Elsmore Media, and he just kind of does a lot of CrossFit videos. He does a lot of different type of videos. That was one of his first music videos that he did, and I thought it turned out pretty dope.
He did a good job with the cuts and the splicing and stuff. He did a really good job. The quality was good.
Yeah.
Better than good. It was suitable for the era we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna have a 480p video, and if they do, then you're either really, really just starting, or you just don't care about putting out quality.
Yeah.
But he definitely had a record on that for sure. That Iconic record was dope. I really, really like that one.
Thanks.
And what other tracks are on that EP, if you could remember them? They don't have to be in order, but I know that's available on all streaming platforms.
Yeah, on all streaming platforms.
Spotify, Apple Music, all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, also available on my Bandcamp, which is spittenimagemusic.bandcamp.com. It also had a record called Get It. You had a record called You Don't Know, It's a Sign, and Mirrors is one of my personal favorites too as well. That was produced by my homie Real Audio. He did some dope production on that beat. It was a good project, man. I was very happy with it. again too, right? I was working with this company called Swoon, and I was in the middle of doing that album, and their studio kind of closed down. So I just decided to put out a 5-track EP. What I had, we mastered it, and made it all polished and stuff, and we ended up just releasing it as a 5-track EP.
And that was last year then?
Yeah.
So before the pandemic hit?
Yeah, just before, man. I dropped it like February 20th.
Oh, man.
And yeah, a month later.
That's my birthday.
Nice, bro. And yeah, a month later, we're into this now.
Okay, and your upcoming project is an LP, right?
Yes, it
and
is.
It's called Arrival?
Yeah.
So I guess you're making basically the concept of your drops so far has been a detour and you've arrived now?
Yeah, like the first album I did was called The Road I'm On. And then the second one we did was the EP and Detour, and then this one's going to be Arrival. So it's kind of just like the 3 albums. Yeah, the play on
road trip. Basically.
Yeah. Where
you get lost, got a detour.
Exactly.
Now you found yourself and you've arrived.
Yep.
That's good. At least you put the concept into the titles as well. Not a lot of people do that, and I don't know why they don't. But that I appreciate. So Arrival, you want to let us know who's going to be featured on the new Arrival LP?
Yeah, man. I got Wordsworth from EMC, and then I got
Legend,
the big legend, Master Ace on another record too.
Like I said, I had a opportunity of doing a show prior to him at Under Pressure Graffiti Festival in Montreal, like about 10 years ago now, I think. Yeah. Shout out Aaron the Alien for being my hype man. Yeah, definitely a humble dude.
Yeah, good guy.
Definitely a fantastic rapper. Both of those legends have great wordplay.
Yeah.
Both have good bars. So both of them with you on a record, or having them on your record, it seems like the balance will be like a perfect fit for you and for them. So like you showed me the verse exclusively for that one track, and that was a nice verse.
Yeah, man.
So I'm looking forward to getting that. And how many tracks are on Arrival?
So Arrival is probably going to end up having about 14 records on it.
Right. And what features?
So again, yeah, like I have the Wordsworth and Master Ace records.
Locally,
I have my big homie Tynan from Philly Moves.
Shout out Tynan from Philly Moves. It's your boy Hanley.
Still doing his thing here and there. I have my big homie Bully Zone on a record. I have this singer artist named Cat Plug that she features on 2 records on this new album. And I have a nice dope record with my big homie Happy Kills. We got a pretty sweet joint coming too as well, man.
Shout out Happy Kills. That's the homie from Time.
Yeah.
Cat Plug, I know, is also featured on Raw B.
Yeah.
He spoke on it on episode 2.
Yeah.
I have reached out to her to try to get her on Rum Chats. No response yet, but we'll see. And definitely looking forward to the Arrival LP. And production, do you have an executive production from a specific beat maker, or is it scattered to different?
I went with pretty much the same 3 guys. I
find that works a lot easier than having to go and look for a different beat every time you want to write a track. Like if you get a package sent to you and you tell them which ones you want. Yeah. And
it kind of worked out. Like it's pretty much the same 3 throughout the whole. I think like at the total is like maybe 4 different producers. My homie DJ Circa Beats hooked up some cuts and stuff on the record too. So
big shout out to Circa Beats. That's a homie from way back as well. Right. Anything else you want to mention about Arrival? Where did you record it?
So I've been recording with the boys from Stay Platinum. This year we have some very big things coming. Stay Platinum just built a brand new studio. So if you're an artist or a singer or anybody like that, make sure you hit up Bully Zone on Instagram and try and book your time. obviously I come first, but yeah, man, really great guys, hardworking guys, know their music, put the effort into it, and the product speaks for itself.
It's definitely good quality music. It's definitely good mixing and mastering, post-production wise. And definitely looking forward to that Arrival LP and all the features. It sounds like it's going to come together very well. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm definitely glad that the music has worked out in your favor.
Thank you.
Since your come up. I mean, 10 years, like I said, seems long to someone that's trying to do a different type of business. But when it comes to music, 10 years is like very fast, especially if you're consistent and dropping things every couple weeks or month or however you do it, however you do your rollouts. So definitely shout out to you.
Appreciate it.
Very proud to call you a friend and very proud of you dropping your new record. I'll be first to grab a copy if you have physical copies. Actually, I should ask for the people listening. Are you going to have physical copies for this one?
So I think for this one, yeah. Basically, hopefully too, man, with everything going on in the world and stuff and the vaccines, hopefully we'll be able to get back to shows and stuff. So I want to make sure that when that day happens, because it's going to, that I'm ready for the people.
Right. And maybe if you do get physical copies, we could do some sort of thing where listeners can listen in and do a sort of contest or something.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Win a Spitten Image signed physical copy, or
I think that'd be awesome.
If they need a video thing for promotion, anything like that, we could figure something out, because shortly the podcast is going to be doing contests in similar tastes to that and stuff to be more interactive. So at the end of the show, I'm going to have a few questions from some people who left them for me. And so how would you feel about moving into another topic?
Of course, man.
We're going to check out Spitten Image's track, Iconic, from his Detour EP, and we'll be right back after we hear a little snippet of that track.
I wanna be iconic, a legendary status. It matters to only me if I can see I'm the baddest. I'm so bad at being good, I should know I'm right. It's like I know I shouldn't, but I wouldn't, alright? Putting purpose in my verses, my version of being worthless. I'm working through every surface, the surface of being nervous. A person can see diversion in certain seconds of serving. I'm serving like Richard Sherman while learning this French immersion. Turning a new cheek, I need this new leaf. I speak what's on my mind, then design it to beats. Newer feats to achieve, so sleep is for the weak. I took this leap of faith in case I hit my peak. I'm Luca Brazzi loyal, it take a traitor to stop me. Y'all sleeping with the fish, I'm filleting like Bobby. Basically what I'm saying, it's hard to stop me. I'm so suited for this game, kid, I'm looking like Gotti. Carbon copy, nah, you see this lane is tough. Adjust to all the stuff like I didn't do enough. See myself in the mirror, I won't ask him for much. Just rap like Big L, spit that platinum plus. I wanna be iconic, a legendary status. It matters to only me if I can see I'm the baddest. I'm so bad at being good, I should know I'm right. It's like I know I shouldn't, but I wouldn't, alright? I think I lost my fucking mind, where the hell did I forget it? I bet it, I might have left it in seconds.
Alright, so we're gonna jump into a little bit of a conversation about mental health and see where it goes, because I know when we were speaking, I forget if I reached out to you to come on the show or for vice versa, you just letting me know that you respected what I was doing for the city, mental health wise and arts wise, because like I said, it's not just about artists and hip hop artists and singers, it's about all arts, so painting, etc. But when it comes down to mental health, you mentioned to me when we first started talking about the show and stuff that you've had your own issues with mental health. Yeah. You want to elaborate a little bit on that? I'll ask you some questions about it along the way.
Yeah, of course, man. I've been a mental health advocate since I started music. It's one of the reasons why I started music, for self-therapy. And man, I'm very open about it. I talk about my story and the things I've been through to help other people. I think this podcast is a great idea, and to have artists like me that, do music and do things, but also suffers from mental health, and tells this story openly that, hopefully you can help people that listen to this and know that they're not alone.
Right. So when you say you had your own experiences with mental health, what exactly could you elaborate? Like, what exactly did you deal with that caused you to feel like it was too much, or there was too much going on in your head? Or could you elaborate on that? Or?
Yeah, of course, man. I was diagnosed with depression, I guess, around 23, 24 years old. I was going through a lot in my life, some substance abuse problems with drugs and stuff like that. Not anything crazy, but going through some dark times and, making it worse on myself. I lost my one of my stepbrothers and stuff like that in a suicide. A bunch of my friends. It pretty much seemed like almost every week I was losing somebody. And when you're that young and you don't really understand and you don't really know how to deal with how you're feeling, especially in your early 20s and stuff like that, man. I know a lot of people have probably gone through it too, but dealing with that and not knowing how to handle it properly makes a lot of things worse. So dealing with depression, dealing with all these new feelings, basically almost feeling like you need to crawl out of your skin. I know some people can relate to that feeling, but having that feeling and constantly battling it was almost at a serious point where I decided to reach out to my parents and talk to my parents about what the next step could be.
So you personally found the courage to go to your parents and say, look, I need help. I don't feel my normal self anymore.
Yeah.
And how did they take that?
My parents are super supportive. My mom and dad are some of my greatest influences in my life. And like I said, my parents were super supportive and they listened. I went full and talked to them about every single thing that I was feeling and going through. And they were very supportive and receptive and kind of let me decide what we needed to do. And to take the next step with therapy and things like that.
Okay, and you said you lost a stepbrother to suicide?
Yeah.
How long ago was that? If you don't mind me asking, of
That
course.
was probably about, around probably 8-9 years ago.
When that happened, it must have opened your eyes to more of a understanding that mental health is something we need to talk about more than just once a year, I like to say, because of certain organizations that make it a priority to monetize as well as support mental health. But I'd prefer it if there is a way that more than just me, which I'm sure there is around the world, other people doing podcasts similar, if not exactly like mine.
Yeah.
But I feel like it should be spoken on to the point where it's annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about so-and-so talk about mental health. I think I'm going to go and get the help I need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes people pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's not to get into your business or pry, it's to help.
Yeah.
And like I say in the intro of each episode, the goal here on this podcast from both of us, I would hope, is to help and inspire, or help and or inspire.
Yeah.
Either help the people go out, get the help they need. Like you said, you needed to go get help. You spoke to your parents. You went out, got the help you needed.
Yeah.
So that's a big, big thing that a lot of people don't show enough love to when they're actually seeing someone go out on their own and get help. Because a lot of the time, people end up just breaking and crumbling, going down the wrong path for escapism.
Yeah.
Ending up with substance abuse issues and falling apart and having to be held in a hospital to get their help. And congratulations to you on doing it on your own, because I know personally it took me a long time, because I was dealing with my own issues internally before I had my breakdown. catalog for music, but to be honest with the listeners, they know that I struggle with mental health like you do and have. But when you deal with it once, there's no saying you won't ever deal with it again.
Yeah.
Especially if it's in mental illness, because there's mental health issues, then there's mental illness, and I have both according to my doctor, and try to escape with certain drugs at times. So back to you, when it came to you having that little substance abuse issue, what were you like specifically doing to escape the pain you felt you were dealing with?
Yeah, like I said, man, it was a good thing I reached out, and I want to let people know, man, that I know people will tell you they understand, and I know a lot of times when you go through that, it's not what you want to hear, because nobody really truly understands, even people that have depression and stuff, but it's not the battle that you're going through. And that's what makes it so personal. And with everything like that, it was a lot of partying, a lot of drugs, like, coke and all that type of stuff. And again, man, like I'm not ashamed to admit it. We all done some things in our lives that, we're not too proud of. But when you do anything you can to numb the pain and, not want to feel anymore. And, it's not the greatest way. I switched it a lot from going to therapy and being on medication for my depression and anxiety and things like that, like I'm not ashamed of, and I'm very happy that I seek the help I needed and got the help I needed, because at the end of the day, it's too much for one person to handle, and you're not alone in the fight. And never forget that, to the people listening, to the people that support mental health, to the people that support On the Line with, and everything like that comes with it.
I appreciate that. And currently, are you battling anything like lightly or even heavily, or that you've just not spoken on? Just because I know you're a new father, fairly new anyway.
Fairly new.
So you don't want to have to. It always feels like a burden to someone else when you tell them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a significant other or your parents. It always feels like a burden on them, because now you have them worrying, like, what if it gets too deep and they go down that suicide route? Because it doesn't just happen one day. Well, sometimes it is impulse, and someone will just go and unfortunately end their life. But it comes in stages. When I was dealing with it, I came in stages. It get to I'm tired of this. The easy way out would be easy, and then it gets to the planning stages on, well, how could I do it and not be in pain, not hurt from it, and it be quick? And that sounds sick to hear, but that's what the people that you're checking in on aren't telling you. They're not telling you what stage you're at. You're asking, how you doing? And they're either saying fine with a fake smile, or they're saying, not too bad, but I don't want to bother you about it. Or, you know what I mean?
Having a bad day.
So were you like that when people would ask you about how you doing? Like back when you're first dealing with it, would you just pass it off as, I'm good?
Yeah, I like you were saying, man, I never wanted to be a burden to my parents and my family. I didn't want them to worry, which, because I knew if I told them the things I was feeling and thinking, they would worry. And rightfully so now. Like, if my kid told me that, I'd be like, hey, I'm all over you. Like, what's up? I'm here to help. But I would internalize it, and I would blame myself, and I would just punish myself inside and just keep it in the pit of my stomach and just basically hold it inside and not let anyone know and just deal with it myself.
And that's a very common practice for people dealing with it. They'll bottle it up, and then something one day just makes them snap, and they'll either be aggressive with someone or, just have a shit day, and they're going to take it out on everybody. And people think, well, this guy's just miserable or a fucking asshole. Yeah. But really, you're just internally, you're struggling, and you're actually more miserable at yourself and mad at yourself. Yeah. But so, like you said, you brought it up to your parents, you went and got the help. And these days, do they check in more often on your mental health than they would have before you went to them for the help? Let's be honest, like say 10 to 15 years ago, we weren't talking about this at all.
No,
people will kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's the easy way out. That's the easy way out.
They didn't understand the stigma behind
There's
it.
still a big stigma, man. There's no one fighting the stigma. That's what this show is about. Like this show, the listeners, you guys are my reinforcements for a battle on stigma against mental health, and the guests are the ones on the front line with me trying to get it through anybody who's listening's head. If you're dealing with a problem internally like depression, thoughts of suicide, or you think you may have a mental illness because of whatever reason, go get help, go get checked. It's free.
Yeah.
It might take a while because of the backlogs due to COVID and everybody in and out of the different sections of hospitals to get help for whatever they're dealing with, or you might be scared because you don't want to catch COVID. But if you're going to get help for your mental health, you don't got to worry about being in the same ward as the COVID patients or trauma patients. You'll be separated and you'll be helped. I could 100% guarantee that. And if you feel like you're a danger to yourself right now, there's tons of resources, and I could leave them on the posting when I post the episode, or leave them at the end of the episode for anybody struggling. And if you just want to talk to people, feel free to hit me up through Instagram, through DM, and we could chop it up. And if you want to be 100 with me, then we could be 100 and talk. And if you just want to give me tidbits, I'm sure Spitten Image would gladly be there to support anybody, stranger or not, fan or not.
I have.
That's the thing, and that's how this city should be. We're too busy grouping up with our own cliques that if you're not part of the clique or close to the clique or close to the group or close to the crew, then they don't really want to mess with you. But we need to focus on building each other up and helping each other out instead of breaking each other down and burying them. Because there's way too many people that me, myself, Spitten Image himself has mentioned, and others that I know personally that we buried due to mental illness and substance abuse, and it's gone too far. And I'm not trying to preach to the choir because I know I have my issues, but I'm doing this show for you as much as I'm doing it for myself. So I'm glad Spitten Image took it upon himself to actually want to speak on the show about mental health more than he did about his music. To be honest, he was more aimed on talking mental health. I have the receipts. But when it comes to substance abuse, like you mentioned, you said it wasn't too hard. You got clear of that. Do you have any other history with it? Like maybe a friend or family member, no names, anonymity always, no names, but if you could just give a little story or description.
Yeah, man. I've seen what it can do to people and stuff. The substance abuse, and it turns good people into pieces of shit. And it's a lot of times, man, it's from things that they went through when they were young and stuff like that. Like through homies of mine, man. Like I've never left them. I will always be there for the people I love and the people I care about and stuff. But sometimes you have to take a step back when they're going through that, because they don't see their actions as wrong. They will justify everything that they do that is right. And I've seen it since day one, man. I'm lucky enough to not go through all of that because, like I said, I started on medication and therapy before I really went down that road. And to this day, man, I'm still on medication for depression and anxiety, and it helps me tremendously. Like you were saying earlier, my dad will like call me maybe once a week, like, hey, you take your pill today? I'm like, yeah, all good, man. Because we were saying earlier, man, it's not just one day, it's a 365-day battle.
And it doesn't discriminate, man.
It doesn't discriminate.
White, black, any color, any ethnicity, any race, man, it's going to affect someone. You know how they say 1 out of every 6 person, 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say 1 in every 4 person, probably either deals with mental health or is dealing with a substance abuse issue. And if we're talking in the last year and a half, there's probably a higher average right now because of the
COVID.
pandemic, the COVID. And there's an epidemic. Suicide's been an epidemic for as long as I can remember, but the resources are there, but they're not strong enough. You call the police for a mental health check, and you've seen some stories in Toronto of what happened, and you've seen how some things in this city have gone down with people who aren't even dealing with mental health or suicidal. They have a learning disability like autism, and they get brutalized by the police and end up dying. So, fuck, this is not the officer. Sorry to anybody who supports the police. I'm just gonna separate that one because he's not an officer to me. He's a UFC fighter with those fucking gloves he had on. But back on track, I think a lot of people would appreciate knowing that you're honest and you're trying to be as authentic as possible when it comes down to talking about it. So I think it's great that you wanted to come on the show specifically for the mental health talk, and I'm glad we got to talk about that, and I'm glad we got to talk about the music. And in regards to mental health, what other resources do you think they could provide, like, in our city right now? Like, because we could call the police on someone we feel might have a danger to themselves or people around them, but the only thing they're going to get is held for 72 hours max at a hospital. And then if the psychiatrist, psychologist, or psychotherapist, whoever is seeing the patient, deems that they're fine to be discharged, then they'll be discharged. That whole time that they're speaking to that doctor, in whatever degree of doctor he is, can be lying. Though they're trained to notice lies and things, there are ways to tell if someone has mental illness and they're lying still, because there's certain fidgets they do if they have bipolar or schizophrenia, or there's eye contact, like they say when someone's lying, they won't look you in the eye. They should be looking for those things. But what would you suggest, if you could right now, resource-wise, that we need in this city?
We need, you know what, man, you're so right. Like we were saying too, man, a broken bone, your mental health is the same as, breaking a bone. If your mental health is broken and your mind's broken, you need to repair it, and it needs to be healed.
A note on that, sorry. And remember, a bone doesn't always heal right, so your mental health may not either unless you get the right help. So
exactly.
Continue. My bad for interrupting.
That's a perfect analogy, bro. But yes, we need more social work. We need more therapy available for people. We need people that are on disability and are struggling every day to have proper access to medication, and to have it where it's not going to break the bank and they're not spending half the stuff they get anyway on the medication that they need. It should be a medication plan. Canada is supposed to be one of the greatest countries in healthcare, and we've slacked the last, I don't know how many years. I'm not going to get into all that about hallway health and stuff, but
we could do that in a follow-up podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
On our rum chats one day.
Yeah, man. But we definitely need more access to these type of things, and more centers and availability to, have doctors on hand if they're, able to do it here and there and stuff like that. And again, have more therapy and more social work, and, have medication readily available for these people that are struggling. I'm very lucky. I have insurance, and I have things that help me that I don't have to pay an arm and a leg for certain things. But not a lot of people have that, man. And for the people that don't, and the people that are struggling, I think it's bullshit. And it's something that I'm very passionate about, man, that, people can say what they need to do. Some people smoke weed to help. Some people medicate with, meditation. I take medication. I take pills prescribed from a doctor. I can tell you right now, man, if I didn't take these pills, I'm not saying that they're the end all be all, but they help me tremendously. They really do. And I'm lucky because I have them available. But if we can get some sort of plan and help in the government of Canada, or whatever the hell, to get the people the help they need, whatever it is, just have availability there for them, it would make all the difference in the battle of mental health in this city, in Canada, and around the world.
Few fan questions. One was, what was the first album you ever bought and listened through fully?
First one I bought and listened to fully was probably Mobb Deep, Hell on Earth.
Great choice.
Yeah.
The other one was, question 2 was, where did you come up with the name? What made you choose the name? So a double question, kind of.
What made me choose the name, man, is like I'm kind of the spitting image of my father. Obviously, it has like the play on words like rapping and spitting, but yeah, like that's kind of where my moniker and MC name comes from, is the spitting image of my dad.
It's always been Spitten Image?
Always.
And the third question is, what's the funniest question you've ever been asked in an interview?
Oh man, what's the funniest question? Oh, if I've ever had like groupies.
Have you ever had any groupies?
Not really, like no, like it's such a weird thing. Like yeah, like no.
You're getting up there, you're just not up there yet, eh?
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
I'm just playing. If your wife is listening, I'm just playing. I don't need any DMs coming from rappers' wives saying, "You trying to get my man groupies?" All right, we're gonna do a quick 5. So I'm gonna ask you 5 things. So you choose right off the top of the dome. So are you a drinker?
No.
If you were a drinker, would it be beer or liquor?
Beer.
Weed, sativa or indica?
Indica.
Havoc or Prodigy?
Havoc.
Last album you listened to fully?
Music to be Murdered by, side B.
So that's been episode 4 of On the Line with Spitten Image, hosted by me, Hanley. And to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling right now and you need help, please call the Canadian Suicide Prevention Service at 833-456-4566. And if you're a young adult or a younger kid listening with their parents, and you don't want to talk to your mom or dad right now about what you're feeling internally, and you need help, don't forget that there's still the Kids Helpline, and it's at 1-800-668-6868. And if you need any more resource numbers or resources, feel free to DM me or DM Spitten Image. And if we could help you in any way possible, we will help you. And I hope that anybody listening tonight was able to relate to my boy Spitten Image here and everything that he's talked about. I'm glad he's gotten the help he needs. I'm glad he's getting through it. I'm glad he's maintaining a level he's happy with. So again, thank you for listening, and I'll let Spitten Image take us out with his outro, some links, and an introduction to the song. We'll be playing off his upcoming project, Arrival. And yeah.
Cool, man. Again, dude, thank you for having me. Bless, seriously. This was absolutely awesome to do. I mean, I get interviewed about music quite a bit, but it's one of the first to be interviewed about mental health, and it's awesome. Again, man, find my links on Instagram at Spitten Image Music, my Bandcamp, www.spittenimagemusic.bandcamp.com, on Twitter at Spitten Image, at Snapchat, Spitten613, Facebook, Spitten Image. Send me DMs, anything like that. You can check out my music, any site on Spotify at Spitten Image, Apple Music, all that good stuff.
All right. And like you said, you can stream all his music on all available streaming platforms. So the track from Arrival, do you want to just let everybody know what we're going to be hearing?
So I'll probably be sending over the track with Wordsworth. It's definitely one of my favorites I've done. And yeah, man, you'll get a little sneak peek about that. Everything's still ready to go for this summer, but this will probably be the first sneak peek that I let out the vault.
So we'll have an exclusive track from Arrival, Spitten Image featuring Wordsworth. That'll be at the end of this episode. So again, this has been episode 4. It's your boy Hanley, Spitten Image. Big shout out to Jack Purcell Community Center for letting me host the podcast here, and can't wait to see you in a couple weeks. Every Sunday we have a new mini-series started. It's called Rum Chats. Stands for raw and unedited mini chats, Skype calls, where I'll be having 10 to 15 minute conversations with, again, any type of artists about anything, not necessarily music, not necessarily mental health, but just a normal conversation, so you have something to tune into while you're waiting for the other episodes to drop, since they're bi-weekly now and not weekly. So I hope you could tune in and follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/onthelinewith or facebook.com/onthelinewith. and our host podcast site is anchor.fm/onthelinewith. So again, thank you, Spitten Image, for jumping in and coming into the show and on the podcast and letting everybody know your story, your come up, and how they can relate to you. And I hope that we helped or inspired someone tonight, and I'm sure he thinks the same.
Man, thanks for having me, bro. I'd love to do it again.
And that's it for today's show. We're going to end with Spitten Image featuring Wordsworth, working from his upcoming project, Arrival. So be on the lookout for that. I'll see you in a couple weeks with closed caption for episode 5. I've been your host, Hanley, and I thank you all for tuning in. And to all the new listeners, thank you for tuning in, and check us out on all social platforms at On The Line With. Thank you. Have a great couple weeks.
Nice since my intro, rapping on any tempo, Latin instrumental, just give me the tiempo. Through my career, a lot of highs, and I've been low. Made more money than Nintendo through Venmo. I want it all, want every dollar, every cent though. PayPal, family and friends, when you send though. Unemployment high, people try to pay their rent though. Cash app info at the bottom of the window. No foes in the circle I'm in. We live in cul-de-sacs, what I call a circle of friends. More racism got me hurting again. For a night, even kids trying to purchase new skin. Nothing fake on Instagram, I don't work to pretend. The person that you see online is the person I am. For certain I'm slim, size on my shirt is an M. I write uplifting bars like I work in the gym. Lord forgive me cause I only go to church when I sin. If you believe any building is a church that you in, put me on any team, then for certain we'll win. You see me now, zoom in, I'm a virtual pin. Anyone that claims that they know it all would never think wrong. A picture of my kids in any arm, I put ink on. Who I used to like, man, I ain't gotta think long. Had a crush on Little Kim when she had different color minks on. To the fans, I made a promise to you. Tap like, write a reply, I'll write a comment to you. Give me a few days before responding to you. I'll hit you back, I'm packing up to move to Honolulu.
This is what I wanna say. Working harder every day. I'm just trying to find my way. Need direction, I'm okay. This is what I wanna say. Working harder every day. I'm just trying to find my way. Need direction, I'm
the whole
okay.
breath, I'm blessed, say less, only to say. Spend dimes to make pennies, it's the harder way. The deal I can't reveal, watch the cards I play. In turn, I'll take charge, I'm a boss today. Then hit them with something different, the rhythm is always written. Just gripping the terms given and living the word spitting. Willing to start killing, feeling a little flush. Rhyme unique, spit hard, call it a rush. I'm here to tear this up, like I hate what I wrote. The narrative of a vote when you debating a goat. I'm hoping to stay afloat, keep my head above water. Get my publishing in order, I'm supporting my daughter. Far from just a father, I've been ready to pop. It'd be a shock to my system if I'm wishing to stop. It's all about the journey, like I'm switching a rock. I'd rather be down in Cuba, scuba diving with Pac. I know it's saying a lot, you heard it first. Put trust in what I say, what my words are worth. Find my place in this world, search the whole earth. I'll be digging the dirt, so I can bury your verse. And I can carry your work, you must be waiting to pay me. Lately it's been crazy, maybe it might save me. A shadow of my past, so I made some shady. Kick raps to make magic like I'm Tracy McGrady.
This is what I wanna say. Working harder every day. I'm just trying to find my way. Need direction, I'm okay.